host for today is Jack. Jack is 15 years old, and as best we can tell, he is a Tennessee Walking Horse cross. We're not sure. What we do know for sure is he's a white horse who likes to roll in the mud. By the way, there's no such thing as a white horse. Don't believe me? Look it up. It's true. So as a colt, Jack was pretty much tied to a post and left alone. He was eventually trained as a trail horse. He was rescued because he was destined for slaughter, and they felt that after bucking off 3 riders, he was pretty much at the end of his career. After coming to the ranch, it was discovered that Jack was suffering from severe ulcers and a bad back. I'd probably throw off riders too if I had a bad back. He had stifle, which is a knee issue for horses. He had a bad right front shoulder, which when he first came, you couldn't go near. And not surprisingly, was suffering from trust issues. His best friend on the ranch is Millie. And sometimes Grandma, but Grandma has to have apples. I think he's my favorite, but don't tell anybody I said that. Okay, enough horsing around. Let's get on with the knitting. All right, I'm back from the barn, so let's get started. If you haven't watched my introduction video, my name is Carol, and I'm coming to you from the southeast corner of Alberta, Canada. I'd like to start today by welcoming all my new viewers, and thank you for choosing to spend time with me. I know that your time is precious. There's lots of channels out there, so thank you once again for spending time with me. Welcome back to all my OGs out there. Thank you for coming back for more nonsense from the barn, and I'm really grateful that you're finding my content inspirational and enjoyable, and hopefully you'll get some ideas from some of the projects that I'm working on. As always, if you hear any background noise or intermittent earthquakes, it will be my 2 Labradors, which are right below me. Odin is on my left, Cherry is on my right. I had one viewer ask me what kind of dogs I have, because I don't necessarily put pictures up on the screen. I don't do that because when other people put pictures of dogs on the screen, my 2 dogs go nuts. That's their problem, not the other podcaster's problem. But Odin is a 4.5-year-old yellow Labrador, and Cherry is a 4-year-old chocolate Labrador. Cherry was born just around Christmas time, and chocolate cherries are my favorite treat at Christmas, and so she was my chocolate cherry. Today is the 30th of January, and it's sunny and plus 15 degrees outside. Break out the bikinis. Compared to the beginning of the month, we are experiencing a heat wave. It's really, really windy today, but that tends to happen. The high winds across the prairies are called Chinook winds, and the Chinook always blows in warmer weather. So when it warms up in the winter, it's also going to be windy because that's the Chinook bringing the warmth in. So where can you find me? Well, you can find me on Instagram as NaughtyKnitter61. You can find me on Ravelry as CraftyCarol61. And my email is swatchthisSpaceDesigns@gmail.com. And all of this information will be in the information box down below and on the very last screen at the end of the video. So you can pause it and make a note if you want to. Alternatively, you can buy a horse a coffee because I do support my daughter's 5 Winds Equine Rescue and Rehabilitation Ranch with my pattern sales. You can find them at ko-fi.com/swatch_this_space. And you can follow the ranch on Instagram at 5 Winds Ranch Rescue and Rehab, or on Facebook as 5 Winds. Again, all of that information will be on the screen or underneath this video. So, as you've seen, today's video was brought to you by Jack. He was my co-host. If this is your birthday day, week, weekend, month, year, however you celebrate your birthday. Jack and I want to wish you very happy returns of the day, very many happy returns of the day, and hope it brings you all the joy and prezzies that you wish for. Okay, so that's the admin part out of the way. Let's start with what I'm wearing. I have a little bit of a different camera angle set up on the video today. I might be a little bit in shadow, a little bit more in shadow than I normally am, but I had to get the expanse of this beautiful shawl. This is the Brough Shawl, or Brough Shawl, B-R-O-U-G-H, by Donna Smith Designs of Scotland. I think she's in Shetland. This is actually knit with her Langsund DK yarn that I purchased straight from her. About once a year, I usually treat myself to a splurge. And this was a splurge. The yarn was a little bit more expensive than what I spent. And the shipping from Scotland was a little bit more, but this was my annual happy from me to me prezzy. I thoroughly enjoyed working on this shawl. I'm going to put a picture in just showing you how massive it actually is. This is gorgeous, gorgeous. If you've never worked with Donna Smith yarns before, and if you want to splurge for something that is going to last, it will be an heirloom. I would highly recommend Donna's yarns. The neat thing about Donna's yarns is a lot of them are naturally dyed or undyed. And so there is going to be a rotation in her shop, depending on what time of the year it is, and depending on what's flowering and what's in leaf at the time that she can actually dye with. So that's kind of interesting and kind of fun to watch for how things change. The dimensions of this shawl, it has a 66-inch wingspan and a 36-inch drop at the back. There's many, many different ways you can wear it. Today I have my Celtic pin on. I have 2 different shawl cuffs that I wear. You can wrap it like a hat. You can tie a knot in the front. You can put it on bandana style under your jacket. It keeps you nice. It keeps the wind out of your neck when you're if you're out walking in the winter. This colorway is a medium warm chocolate brown. So just to let you know, in case it looks different on your screen than it actually is. It was knit on 4.5 millimeter needles. And it actually has a really enjoyable lace pattern in it. If lace scares you, don't worry about this shawl. Parts of this is called cat's paw, and it's ultimately recognizable, memorable, and intuitive when you come to it in the pattern. So the construction, I believe, starts at the bottom tip and works out. So it gets bigger as you're working on it. But honestly, on 4.5 millimeter needles, it's a quick knit, so it's going to go by quickly, and it just blocks out beautifully, and the yarn just blooms right into the lace pattern. The other thing I wanted to mention was Donna has a podcast. I watched what was entitled episode 2. So I'm not sure if she's just begun podcasting again or if she has just started podcasting, but you can find her on YouTube under Donna Smith Designs for her podcast. Okay, let's move on to a few other items I have to show you today. So moving on to finish objects, what have I got to show you this week? Well, I have finished my square, worked out to about 15 by 15. It's this beautiful, beautiful chocolate brown. The yarn is New Zealand wool from Yarn Home, and I'll link their website down below in the show notes. I was not holding it double, I was holding it single. I think I was using probably about a 2.5 millimeter, something like that. And so this is my first square to practice. And just as a side note, this blocks up beautifully. like, this is going to be a cardigan one of these days. I love this yarn. I'm going to keep using this yarn. I came across it by accident. Again, it's called Yarn Home New Zealand Wool. I am going to continue using this yarn. But this square is primarily for me to practice embroidering on knitwear. And so that's the first finished object that I have, is my square. The second finished object that I have is what I'm wearing. This is just a shrug pattern that I whipped up because, again, in keeping with the embroidery on knits theme, I would like to try embroidering on knitwear that is really going to stretch. So what stretches more than a shrug? So I just used Knit Pick Swish. I think I used a 4 millimeter needle on it, a circular needle, just so that it's not too boring. I put a cable down both arms, you can see there, and then the neck is sort of like a what I would call an Audrey Hepburn neck. That's my front marker there. It's a wide collar on the neck. And I just, on the bottom, I just have a little, probably 1 inch rib hem, but I haven't woven in my ends yet because it's not sitting the way I want it to sit, even though that this is just a practice piece. I would probably go back and put another inch or 2 on the bottom of this, but it's not blocked either. This hasn't been blocked yet. So this again is for me to practice embroidery on. So now I have 2 projects. I have the stabilizer that it calls for in my embroidery on knits book. I mentioned that a couple of podcasts back. I'll put a picture in here. No, this side of the book. And so what I guess my next step would be to just trace some flowers onto the stabilizer. And the stabilizer is not a self-stick one. You just lay it over top and then you put your hoop on, and then go ahead and start your embroidery following the instructions in the book. If anyone is interested, I can write up this pattern for you so that you can practice too if you want to, or if you just want something to throw on around your shoulders in the house, or you could probably wear it under your coat. The collar is very easily customizable, pardon me, which would be great for Leslie of Not Quite Enough Yarn Modification Mal that she's running right now. I'll put that information down below as well. And you could make a crew neck, you could make a boat neck, you could do all kinds of substitutions on the neck if you wanted to, and then just go to town putting on your embroidery. I plan on putting some on the body, but I also, one of the reasons why I made the stand-up collar is because I want to try and put a little bit of embroidery along the collar. So we'll see what happens with that. Swatch the space. And again, with using my rustic wools and following my, what would you call it? My prescription for this year. I'm running a Color Me Beautiful colorwork make-along this year. We'll talk a little bit about that later on. But I finished my Maxine hot water bottle cover. Put it on this side. There. Now let's see. Can you see that? Yeah, there. There we go. I am tickled pink with this pattern. This is a Laura Penrose pattern. If you've never knit any of Laura's patterns, I can highly recommend her as a pattern writer. She's very simple to follow. This is really neat where you can use either 3 colors or 6 colors, and she gives you 2 coloring pages so that you can work out your color combinations prior to actually knitting with them, with the yarns. And again, a couple of videos back, I mentioned how to use the red and green value tools so that you don't end up with mud. I did make one mistake as far as I'm concerned in this one. I don't think you can see it, and that is the mistake. I used a really deep purple up against the brown, and I don't know if I can even, yeah, you can't even really tell. But I liked it, so I just ran with it. And, you know, nobody's going to use this hot water bottle other than me. So, and it was funny, in the process of knitting it, the cover, I said to my husband, I hope it fits. Where's our hot water bottle? And he said, well, I think it's in the linen closet upstairs. And I couldn't find it. And he said, no, on second thought, I remember, I think it sprang a leak and we threw it out. So here's me knitting away on a hot water bottle cover with no hot water bottle in the house. So I bought one to fit. But it's really neat because in the process of having to purchase another hot water bottle, what I learned is you can get extra long hot water bottles that you could lay across your stomach if you have cramps, or across the small of your back if you have lower back issues. They make thinner ones that are actually half the width of what a regular hot water bottle would be. Yeah, I just didn't realize. And I haven't used one in such a long time because we have the magic bags in the house. I think that's a brand name, but basically they're the beanie bags. We have a long skinny one that I use across my shoulders and for my neck, and we have a square one that my husband uses for his lower back. So, but I'm going to have to make another hot water bottle cover because my husband doesn't like toothy yarns. They don't bother me. But I can see that there is going to be a sign-up sheet for who uses the water bottle when. Because he was picking it up and looking at it like, oh, this is really neat. Oh, this is cool. Oh, is that what you... Oh, okay. So, yeah. So that will probably be a in regular rotation piece of kit in our house. The other thing that I'm working on right now, my other work in progress, is my Arctic Doodle cowl. I'll put a picture in. Will I put it here? No, I will put it here on my left. It's a little bit difficult to show, so I'm going to insert the picture. The Arctic Doodle cowl is a PDF, downloadable PDF, and a full deck of really, really cute winter color work. I think they're 24 stitches long repeat, and you make it in either just a cowl or a 24-inch cowl or a 30-inch cowl. It's made by Pacific Knit Co., which is Jamie Lomax, and she's onto a real winner here. This is just the cutest thing. Her latest one is a Valentine's deck. Now, when I say deck, I say that because Laura prints her patterns on what is essentially the size of a playing card, and they come in the shape of a deck, and you open it up and you just shuffle your cards, and whatever comes off the top you use, and then whatever comes next. Or you might want to just rotate between, you know, two patterns that you really, really love. Like, I think in the Valentine's one, there's giant lips and giant hearts. So maybe you just like those two. Anyways, the Arctic Doodle cowl, I'll put all the information down below. I am using tonal colors I purchased from Ancient Arts, and it is a DK weight, and I'll put all the colors that I'm using down below as well. I'm also working on a pair of Momerath Leg Warmers. This was a funny discussion in my Zoom group and with my knitting besties. The word Momerath wasn't recognizable right away, so I directed everybody to the Jabberwocky, the poem The Jabberwocky, because that's where it comes from. And some people got it right away and some people didn't, but I will put in a picture of the ones that I'm working on for my daughter. They are fun. They are potato chip knitting because it just switches between pearls and knit stitches, and makes a really bouncy, springy, fun leg warmer, pair of leg warmers. Now, I made a modification which makes them eligible for Leslie's Modification Mal, in that I put a top cuff and a bottom cuff on because I would likely wear them not as leg warmers, but more as slouchy ankle warmers. My ankles get like 2 blocks of ice and it's very, very uncomfortable. So those are the Momerath Leg Warmers. And we're going to now move on to acquisitions. So before we move on to acquisitions, there was just a couple of other works in progress that I wanted to bring you up to speed on. Sorry if that's an earthquake. That's Odin and Cherry fighting over an alligator under my table. You might say they're alligator wrestling. Anyway, just one second. I'm just drinking plain old red rose tea today in my Highland Coo cup. I don't know if you can see my coo. There he is. There. This is from one of my favorite potters in Edmonton. I'll link her information below. Her first name is Heather. For the life of me right now, I can't remember the name of her company, but I probably have about 4 of her mugs, and it's worth the shipping all the way down from Edmonton. So, okay, works in progress. So, up here is my nature sweater, which is the sweater that's on the front cover of the brand new Knitting for Olive book. It's an all over lace. The neck is a cowl neck, turtleneck type idea. So right now all I have to do is pick up for the sleeves and the neck and then block it. It looks short right now, but once it's blocked, it'll probably come down another 3 inches or so. So I'm hoping I'll block it that way anyway. I did sit and do the Italian sewn bind off on the bottom. It's akin to a tubular bind off. I just like that bind off better because it's a neat bind off. Obviously it's not blocked right now, but it took me probably about 3.5 hours to go around and do the bind off. But that's okay because I had a couple of good movies that I wanted to watch, and it was just about the right length of time. So I am making progress on my nature sweater. My What the Fluff sweater, I have come to a decision. I'm just not feeling it. I'm not feeling it anymore. And so I am going to actually frog it, and I'm going to move on and make the Intertwined Roots shawl by Mirknen Mitts. I'll put a picture of it up on the screen. Her description says it is an asymmetrical triangle shawl worked sideways. It features a detailed, repetitive, cabled edge and some stockinette with garter rows for the main body of the shawl. Some eyelet rows and a picot edge keep the knitting process encouraging until the end. Due to the loose gauge, it is a light, soft, and drapey shawl, which is big and cozy at the same time. Now, this pattern calls for Nutiden, which is not a problem. As I speak, I'm sitting here looking at a lot of Nutiden up on my shelf. But because I have this already, wound together, it's a strand of 75-25 merino and a strand of alpaca blaze held double. I think what I'm going to do is just maybe go up a size in needle size, or 2. We'll see. I'll have to swatch and see what it looks like. And because I really want to use that yarn, and I think it's going to be nice for this shawl. I think it's if I go up a needle size, it won't lose anything in translation. So we'll see. I'll swatch and I'll keep you up to date on my progress. I'll show you my swatch when that's done. Okay, so now we can in fact move on to acquisitions. So to talk about acquisitions, first of all, I want to preface this segment by saying I had no business. I did a thing. I may have done a thing. I had no business doing a thing, but I did it. I came across the capelet, the crocus capelet on Ravelry, the crocus capelet. And I'll put a picture of that up here. I don't know why. It's just fun. It's just neat. And seeing as how I'm doing a color work make along this year, I thought, okay, that's perfect too. I mean, I really didn't have to talk myself into it, but I did. I ordered the yarn right away. I think I ordered from Lovecrafts. It's nothing spectacular. It is, in fact, Debbie Bliss Cashmerino Aran. This is it here. Let me bring that a little closer so you can see it. I think that's probably going to blow out. Yeah, that's not the actual color. I ordered the colors that it shows in the picture. I just went right along with I love the colors that she used. Burgundy, pink, teal, oatmeal, that sort of thing. So I ordered the exact colors, and I'm going to knit it up, and it'll probably be a fun addition to my wardrobe. I have a navy linen dress that I could wear it with. I have a chambray knitted dress. I have a tan colored knitted dress. So yeah, so it'll fit in. It'll fit in. And I have knit with the Debbie Bliss Cashmerino before. I enjoy using it. It's a lovely yarn on your hands. It's bouncy and soft. So yeah, I would recommend that one too. So that's going to be a cute project. That's going to work up quickly. I still have to pick up my Wild Angelica socks. I'm still working on those. Those are color work as well. I still have to pick up my Mirknen Mitts. Those are color work as well. So like I said, I had no business starting another project, but here we go. That's what happens. And so I'll show you the progress on the capelet as we go along. Okay, so what do we want to move into now? I wanted to just show you a little something that I did last year. It's called the Longway Homestead Breed Study Program. Now, Longway Homestead is a family-owned and operated fiber farm and wool mill located in eastern Manitoba, Canada, so they're still on the prairies, and it's situated on traditional Treaty 1 territory land. Longway Homestead strives to be a environmentally and animal-friendly endeavor all the way, in all their practices, in everything they do. And so in order to educate people on the different types of yarns, yeah, there's books out there. I have a couple of them in my library that will tell you all about the different kinds of yarns. But this was neat because I was supporting a Canadian farm in Manitoba, which is just 2 provinces away from me. And I actually got samples of the yarn every month. Now, I'm not just talking, you know, a yard or 2. Let me turn the camera and see if you can see. Hanging up beside my sweater are just some of the hanks of yarn that I got. And so what I did was, in order to, whoops, let's just move this back that way a little bit. In order to preserve them and be able to reference back to them, I actually bought myself a little binder to put them all in. So once a month you will receive a packet of flattened yarn like this, and all you have to do is snip it open, give it a few thwacks, and let it hang, and then it's ready to use. With one of my hanks of yarn, I already made a hat. For winter, it was a lace hat, and I was very, very happy with the way the wool worked up. So I'll show you what happens. You get that packet of yarn, and then the very first thing that you get is an explanation. Oh, this is the little booklet that I bought. It's a fabric cover with a little snap closure. And I bought some pocket pages for it. And the first thing you get is an explanation of the sheep breed study. And it tells you that it is in-depth information about more than 12 different breeds in Canada, with more being added regularly. So that came with my first packet. And what you get is a nice card that shows you, I think the first one I have in here is Corriedale, and it shows you what the sheep look like. It gives you an idea of what their wool is. It tells you a little bit about the fact that the breed was developed in New Zealand in the 1880s, a dual-purpose breed intended to graze pastures that weren't well suited to the existing dominant sheep breeds. By breeding Merino and Lincoln Longwool sheep, this is how this one came about. And it goes on to tell you all about the breed of the month. And this month it was Corriedale. And then on the back of the card, it literally has specifics about the wool. So it talks about the average staple length, the fiber diameter, the fiber weight, the shape of the fiber. This is a rectangular sort of fiber. You get a yarn band that you can either put on the skein or attach to the skein. And it tells you that my Corriedale, it was a 2-ply worsted, and I got 215 meters in 100 grams. So all through, I went through all 12 of the breed programs and put them into my book. There were some that I had never heard of before. Not the Shetland. A polypay, I think it was called a polypay. I'd never heard of that before. Anyway, so I will link the information down below to Longway Homestead. I believe they're running their breed study program again this year. So if you're interested, it's a really nice way of learning about different sheep, having an example of their yarn to actually work with and to get the feel of in your hands. And what I want to do is I want to take all of these hanks that I have. They're not all the same weight, but they are darn close to each other. And as you could see, some of them are different colors. And I'm going to knit up the Storm Sweater. Let me see. The Storm Sweater by Petite Knit. And I'll put a picture of it on the screen here. And I think it's sort of a Guernsey style sweater, and with the different types of yarn and the different colors of yarn that I have, you know, one stripe might be darker, one is going to be like a medium gray. I think it's going to be a really fun project, and with whatever's left over from the sweater, I'll knit a headband to go with it. So that's the Longway Homestead Breed Study Program. I'm going to move on now and talk a little bit about the Color Me Beautiful Make-Along. Okay, so the Color Me Beautiful Make-Along 2024. This is running right up until December 31st. It started on the 1st of January, and it's for people who might want to jump into a year-long, like a Marie Wallin Yell type colorwork sweater, or for people who have never done color work, or for people who are who want to learn and are leery about doing it. This gives you a whole year to just produce one product, because it can be a little bit frustrating when you're learning, and some colorwork projects out there are long ones. You just have to commit in your own mind to knowing that it's not gonna be done in 2 months. Unless you can knit, sleep, repeat. It's just gonna take a while. So this is gonna run right until December 31st. I have guidelines more so than rules. Your project needs to adhere to my definition of color work, and my definition of color work is a project that uses 2 or more colors to produce a pattern on your project. So that would include things like stranded color work, mosaic, I had about 4 of them listed out, and I can never remember. If you, I think it look, if you look back to my definition of color work, my segment in episode 4, it will explain to you what I mean by color work. But basically, it's something that uses 2 colors to create a pattern, 2 or more colors. My Arctic Doodle cowl that I'm working on right now is 3 colors. Lots of fun. So Christmas cast-ons, which were less than 20% complete by the 1st of January, are eligible for this. I know some people who had cast on some color work at Christmas to work on through the year, so they're eligible because it was a brand new start. I will be making draws for prizes on the 1st of April, the 1st of July, the 1st of October, and one on the 1st of January 2025-ish. Probably the 2nd or the 3rd. Winners' names will be announced on the air, so you need to watch the podcast. And winners can send me an email with their name and address. I will never send you one asking for money. I won't send one asking for postage. I won't send one telling you that you've won something and send me $25 to figure out what it is. The contest is open worldwide. Shipping just is what it is, and I don't want to exclude anyone. So I think that's everything for this week. Episode 6 already. And yeah, that's everything that I had written down. That's it for now. So don't forget, take your knitting, go out into the wild, and share your joy and your passions with others. Bye for now.